Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Live Video Game TV. Today we have an actual special for you guys. We're going to go back to Ghana with the Chronicles of Ghana 2. Hey guys, so we're here at Norman Manley Airport. We're going back to Africa, but this time we're armed with like big companies like Color Switch, Dr. Battles, Hashtag. We're going to continue our mission to help make gaming big in Africa. Because here at the Live Video Game TV, our game is never over. If you thought 2018 was a big year and a very hard year for us, it only made us stronger because like this time going back, I'm like, it wasn't as bad in terms of the travel and getting there, but in terms of covering everything, we did a lot. I'm talking about like 4 or 5 times more than what we usually did. I guess we could start the story off when we left Jamaica. So obviously this time the trip was to leave from Kingston and go to Miami. So we're here in Miami, you know, for all you guys out there, you know what we had to go through just to get here. You know, big shout outs to our Discord and the community members of Empire Arcadia. Definitely big shout outs to Hashtag EDU, Dr. Battles, and Color Switch, because without you guys we wouldn't be here. So our next stop from Miami is New York, and then like 7 hours in the air, and then we reach Ghana. So we'll see you guys there. It's boarding time. And then we eventually fly out to Europe, and then from Europe we head down into Ghana. The one lesson we learned from the first trip was we don't use TAP Portugal, so we decided to go American Airlines. That was the lesson we learned, and it was a smooth trip. Although we had our layovers and it was a long time, you know, we had stayed over in a hotel one night in Miami because we had to catch a following flight. But that was not the original setup. That was due to a delay in the flights. Like there was a big problem at the airport and everyone lost their flight because it had to be rescheduled for the following day. But they were kind enough to put us in a hotel, and that gave us enough time to kind of gather our thoughts and get ourselves straightened out how we're going to actually get there and what we're going to do when we get there. Hey, good morning guys. So last night Delta canceled our flight. We couldn't make it to Ghana, so we're delayed. We'll probably get there like on Wednesday. But they did check us into the Crown Plaza Hotel, where we had no choice. We slept over, got some rest, got a good shower. That gave us an opportunity to kind of work on the stuff. So I'm over here working on the stuff for like Dr. Battles and Hashtag, Color Switch, and the vlog that I got to get you guys. And later on we're going to go down to the airport and get our flight to get to Ghana. We got this little makeshift lab right here so I can get my work done. And during that time, that one day layover, I got a call from Ghana from one of my friends, Michael, a guy that works on, he used to work at Kwesi TV, but he's close friends with a lot of people there. And he told me, he's like, when are you going to get in to Ghana? And I told him, well, we got pushed back a day. And he told me that they were actually going to do a video game conference, which was going to be sponsored by MTN, which is the largest telecommunication provider for the entire continent, and even going out into the Middle East. So I was like, oh wow, they're finally doing a gaming conference. And then I said, yeah. And it's like, you know, we'd like for you to be a speaker there. And you know, there's no way I was going to turn that down. I said, I'm in, definitely. I thought that was a great opportunity, you know, to take, because it's literally the platform to put it out there. You know, the gaming is going to become a big thing in Africa, and we have a lot of people that want to compete. We got a lot of people that want to create content. We got a lot of people that want to do so much things in video games, and we definitely need a platform to put it out, and nothing was bigger than MTN. The internet is big, but in Africa, television and radio is just as big. It's still there. The internet hasn't been at the point where it's like America, where it's dominating the television and radio. They're all like, this is the 3 equal superpowers: the internet, radio, and television. That still is how where Africa is, and that's good. So when I heard of the MTN thing, I was like, all right, we definitely got to use that platform. So we prepared ourselves, and then we left out, got to Europe, and then from Europe we got down to Ghana. Hey guys, we are finally in Ghana right now. It was a long trip. We finally got here. It wasn't boring because, you know, we was playing color switch, we was on the Nintendo Switch, we was doing all types of switching from the plane to the games, everything. When we're finally here, I just feel like I'm at home. We was welcomed. We had a warm welcome in Ghana as we got off the plane and we were checking out from, you know, immigration and the whole 9 yards. There's this guy there. He sung a song about me. He asked me, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "Triforce." And he's like, "Where are you from?" I was like, "From Jamaica." Oh my goodness, that was so. Anyway, a big shout outs to the guy. I appreciate the warm welcome. You know, the year of return, so they gave us a warm welcome from all the, you know, Pan-African people from the diaspora coming in. So I really appreciate that.
Triforce on every continent, we won't just move from there. In every region in the world, we won't just go there. We will fulfill your details.
We got picked up by Selma and the crew, and we headed home. And where we was gonna stay, we got a big Airbnb, and we just prepared ourselves for the following day. So that was it for like that, just getting there to Ghana. We're going to get to our Airbnb, shout out to Color Switch for that, and then we're going to get to some work on some Dr. Battle stuff and some hash chip stuff. We got a lot of work to do, but this is the beginning. So the following day, there was a tournament. It looked like we had just landed in Ghana just in time. There was a FIFA tournament that we had to go to. It was called the Ghana FIFA E-Cup 2019. And, you know, we met up with Yuba, one of the big help that we've got in our journey there, especially in 2018 as well. And he was like, "Are we going to come down to the tournament?" And we was like, "Okay, sure, we'll get there." And he wanted us to come because he wanted us to actually cover it. There was a big rapper there, Papi Cujo, and he was like, I think the guy that was the main person featuring the tournament and so forth. So he thought it was a great idea for us to go down there. And when we got there, lo and behold, 2018, you know, FIFA champion for GGC, Sule was there. And as you guys know, Sule is a part of Empire Arcadia. It represents our FIFA division, the Silverbirds, which is based out here in Kingston in Jamaica. Big shout outs to Dean, Ziggy, and Kill Them. So we never forgot you guys and the crew. Here's the rundown. Sule qualified for the grand finals. He won his match against the actual toughest player here. The score was 3-2, so he won by 1 aggregate, and now he's gonna go on to the grand finals. And I just watched the other semifinals match against the other 2 guys. They're nowhere in his league. So this is like, we're gonna wrap this up just like how we do back in the West. So another win for EMP, holding it down Sule. So we met up with Sule. He was like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, you know, he's competing in a football game. And he's like, "Where are you?" He's at quarterfinals. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm over here really like, yes, I want him to win in the whole 9 yards. And they did a little interview with me and him as he was preparing to go into the qualifiers. So this was an actual qualifier. The 2 winning people for the qualifiers will go to the finals, which would be another day and so forth. And Sule dominated this guy, and he went to the finals. So I was so happy because I was like, yes, this is good news landing in Ghana. We're over here destroying qualifiers and whole 9 yards. We told him that we want to definitely interview him. So, you know, the Lab Video Game TV did an interview with him at some point to lead up to the finals because, you know, we want to see if he was going to be that guy that's going to win and so forth. And we also told him that there was going to be another big FIFA tournament, which was the FIFA, well, it's not the FIFA, but it's the Color Switch GGC Trio that they was going to have. And so it was going to be Color Switch, Just Dance, and it was going to be FIFA. But that happens later on, and we already knew that we was going to set up for that, but we wanted to kind of prep him for that. So that took care of that event, and, you know, I was happy he qualified, and we said our next thing was going to be the MTN Gaming Conference.
I'm here at the MTN Gaming Conference in Accra, Ghana, where Isaiah Triforce Johnson of Empire Arcadia will be the international guest speaker. We'll be hearing from and speaking with pioneers in gaming here in Accra, as well as some of the players and the movers and shakers.
Talking to these guys about my experience in esports, what we can do to help lift not only Accra and Ghana, but all of Africa in gaming. That was, like, in my opinion, tied at the #1 for the most important thing we were going to do there. The reason why is because here in America, there's a lot of things that's happened, and this is post the Ghana trip, where Gachi Kun, I think it's an Asian fellow. He won the Capcom Cup a year or so back. I'm not too sure. I think it was either 2000. Yeah, it had to have been 2018. And then there was Kayane. She's a French player. She plays Soul Calibur, and both of them visited Africa. One went to Cameroon, the other one went to South Africa. And the platforms laid out for them were foreign entities. And these foreign entities were supporting foreign people coming into the country to help push gaming and eSports. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, not because of what the players were doing. So I don't want people taking this the wrong way. It's just that foreign interests seems to have more interest in us than we do for ourselves. And it shows a weakness in our sovereignty when we ourselves are not doing for ourselves. It's like we're always looking for some foreign aid to come in and say, this is the direction we would go, or this direction you should go. And there's no need for that. We should know where we want to go ourselves, and we do. But there are people in the scene that makes it very difficult for us, the people, to want to direct ourselves, as they put foreign interests before national interests or the interests of the people. Well, MTN definitely decided to, make that change. It was like, nope, we're going to do a gaming conference, and we want to bring our people. There was a Pan-African from California who came out. His name is Eric. He came down. They used a couple of guys that was local to Ghana, a game developer, Philip from CT 97.3, and then myself. So I was very happy about that, to look into the crowd and see our people, and talk about our interests. That was the highlight for me. I was very happy about that. And unlike 2018, it's not like we went down there, just, hey, we're going to go down there, we're going to make this first step, and we're going to put down the foundation. We were pretty much by ourselves, it was literally just me and the live video game TV. But I was like, nah, we have to be able to do something more in this second trip. And this second trip, we were able to make a bigger impact due to the support of, number one, first and foremost, Color Switch. Color Switch really helped us out with the second trip. And then we had Dr. Battles, and then we had Hashtag EDU, which is focusing on STEM education through video games. So without those guys, it would have been a little bit more difficult for us to kind of make the impact that we wanted to make in this trip. But those guys definitely made it good. And because of them, when I was at the MTN Gaming Conference, I was able to really talk about the things that we wanted to do in gaming in Africa, not just the gaming industry from a development standpoint, a content creation standpoint, but from the esports standpoint. And each of those sponsors played a significant role in that. Color Switch representing the entire gaming industry, Dr. Battles representing esports, and then Hashtag representing the content creation, social aspect of it through education. So it really all fit together. And I spoke about those three major parts at the MTN Gaming Conference, and it was well received. I'm talking about well received. I got a nice little ovation from the crowd when I kind of spoke on behalf of the gamers, because it's the way it is. Gamers try to reach out to these companies, video game companies, third-party companies, whatever, to get support to help push their scene forward, and a lot of the times they are ignored. And there was a part where I mentioned where I said I can speak on behalf of the gamers of Ghana that, finally, MTN recognized the gamers trying to reach them for over 10 years. And the gamers were very happy, because that was a true statement, but no one was ever able to tell that to MTN until I was able to do it then. So when that happened, I was very happy about that. But ultimately, all the vendors that were there that we met with, definitely the Ghana eSports Association, the guys that literally gave me the title for the International eSports Ambassador for Ghana. They were there. I was working with them and talking with those guys, Kwesi and the rest of the team. Big shout outs to you guys and all the other different gaming developers that was there that the Live Video Game TV covered. Overall, resounding success, and it got the message out. So moving on in 2020, we want to see what the work of the MTN Gaming Conference does. So we'll see.
Okay, so it's one more day, one more conference. Empire Arcadia's mission in Africa continues.
So we are here at the Africa Digital Summit and Expo. I'm going to be here, I'm going to be a guest speaker, and also I'm going to be with Kwesi from the Ghana eSports Association in a fireside discussion with the gaming community and technology community here at Accra, Ghana. Speaking of Kwesi from the Ghana eSports Association, shortly after MTN's gaming conference, there was an African Digital Summit hosted by Kofi and all of his supporters and the people in the space. The purpose of the summit was to gather some of the entrepreneurs and the movers and the shakers of the Ghana digital space. And they wanted us to come there and talk about some things regarding like animation and gaming, digital technology and gaming, and definitely esports. They hosted a fireside with Kwesi Hayford, the president of the Ghana eSports Association, and I was there in the fireside with him. So Kwesi and I discussed about how esports played a large role in the future of Ghana's economy from the digital spectrum. A lot of people don't understand like how esports and just gaming as a whole pushes a lot of things. These things create jobs. It actually boosts the economy of actual nations. A lot of people don't understand that like the things that goes on in gaming, from the education aspect, the content creation aspect, and the competitive aspect, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And during that fireside, we spoke briefly on that, and we let the crowd know that this is what's going on with Africa in the esports scene. So the Ghana Esports Association and many of the different gaming entities in Ghana were all pushing for this. And I'm glad that they gave us that platform as well. It kind of reinforced what was being said at the MTN Gaming Conference. And even to this day right now, the Ghana Esports Association continues to push this narrative. Like I see Kwesi all the time, they got the Queens of Africa. It's a group of girls that have their own esports team. It's just all girls, and they play FIFA and they play a bunch of different games out in Ghana. So big shout outs to you, Kwesi, and the Ghana Esports Association. I'm happy to be an ambassador, represent you guys, and continue to work because this is the groundwork needed for the future of Ghana in esports. And speaking of the Queens, recently I stated that Ghana made a big push for girls in gaming with their FIFA team for all girls. When we got there, we wanted to push our girls, the Valkyries. And one of the things, we wanted to kind of change it up because here in Jamaica, we have the Just Dance Africa project. That's what it's called, the Just Dance Africa project, where we want to try to get our music more into the video game Just Dance, because my wife loves Just Dance, and our girls, they all dance to the music, but the music is predominantly pop, and it's not a reflection of like some of the greatest musics out there by our people, and our culture isn't, in my opinion, fully represented in there. Just for Jamaica alone, there's probably one or two reggae songs, period. And it's like, I don't know, understand why. Like dancehall, we have so many different dance moves. I don't know why they're not in Just Dance. Well, actually, I can think of a couple reasons why, but that's not the point. But Africa as a whole, we're not necessarily in there. In the 2019 edition, Boom Boom Tam Tam, you would think this is like a song from Africa, but it is not. It's actually a South American song. I think it's Brazil it comes out of. But that was the closest that we got for it, and we decided to do a video shoot with it, which is oh my goodness, that's so cringy. But for me anyway, because I really didn't want to be in the shoot. but I had to take one for the team. I had to soldier up, and we wanted to go to Independence Square to actually do the shoot. And before we could do that, we wanted to make sure that the girls, we had a great idea of how we were going to incorporate like the Power Glove into the whole thing. And so we were like, let's go and do some shopping for the girls. And we found these nice shirts that said "Pause" on it. It was kind of cool, and we got them some bottoms, and they came out and they did the dance and the whole 9 yards, and I used my Power Glove to pause them and stuff like that, so I could check out the girls' dance moves and the whole 9 yards. It was cool work by Wayne and his team. So big shout outs to Live Video Game TV on that one. So when we did that, the purpose of this is because we wanted to involve women and the culture. See, when it comes to Africa, it's one thing to just get our people involved, get technology involved, but I think we don't really focus on the core of Africa, which is our women. Our women is the core of Africa. A lot of people argue this, but our culture is based off of our women. Whether to get to the level of empire or nation or city or tribe, whatever you want to call it, town, you first have to start with the family. And the core of that family was always the mother. In the West, they said the man is the head of the household. Man is the head of the household in terms of provision. Who runs the household is a total different thing. That is the mother. And any home that does not have a mother is disheveled in terms of for family focus. This is not to take away from the men. There's a lot of single men out there who runs their home and so forth, but the point I'm trying to make is that men then have to take elements from the mother. And I recognize that. And because I recognize that is why I put so much effort into our women as a whole. So for the Valkyries, it's important for me to kind of focus on them and get the cultural aspect out of it. And one of those cultural aspects is dancing. So that's why we go to Just Dance. It's a video game that enables us to kind of like execute or put that out there for people to actually see. It's one thing to talk about it, but you have to see it, you have to feel it, you have to be able to experience it. And Just Dance does that for us. So this is why we're trying to get like African type songs into Just Dance. Even the hip hop artists in Africa, if we can get like Papi Kujo's songs into Just Dance 2021, that would be great, because then you'd see a lot of African people dancing. And I use those girls to kind of really express that and express like how they enjoy having a good time, and because we need that. Gamers definitely need that, especially in the West. It's so guy or a man oriented, male oriented. It's just nothing but dudes. And for me, look, I got no problem with the dudes playing video games, but I would like it to be more, inclusive rather than exclusive. So we want to get everybody involved in it, and for me, I want to focus that involvement on our women. So whether it was us doing Just Dance or heading to the beach, having the girls have a great time playing the Nintendo Switch on the beach, and playing a little bit of so football, like how Wanda was playing football with the guys and stuff like that, and just having the girls have an overall good time. All of this is really expressed in the Valkyrie video with Empress Now. She kind of breaks this down completely in her video, where she talks about like how women can express themselves through active gaming. So whether it may be games like Just Dance, or games like now the Ring Fit, or whether it may be Color Switch for puzzle games, or Call of Duty, these girls they don't want to show that they're just sitting there playing video games on the system, but they want to actively get up and integrate gaming into their culture and their lifestyle. And active gaming is definitely a part of that, because we are active people. So I'll continue to do more with the Valkyries moving forward, and definitely when we get back to Ghana. So be prepared to see more of that. We are here at CT 97.3 FM. I actually have an interview where we're going to be talking about the growing economy of the video game industry, and where is Ghana, let alone Africa, and all of that. Stay tuned with us, because the Live Video Game TV is going to go on air with us, so you can get the inside scoop of the real grit of the conversation. So let's get going. we wanted to hit up a couple of TV stations, a couple of radio stations. One of the television stations that was actually there at the MTN gaming conference was CT 97.3. They were actually there. They have a TV component to it. They have a radio station as well. So I was invited to go there and join with Philip, and we talked about a lot of things. We talked about the economy of how esports can help boost the economy of nations. It's done it outside of Africa, and whether or not that was conducive, will that work in Africa as well? And it definitely will work in Africa. Too many gamers out there, and the more gamers you have, the better it is for it to work. So we hit up the radio station. Good morning, everybody. What's going on? We're here back at Quasi TV. This time we're going to be here for a morning show called Head Start. The next step for us, we wanted to go to Head Start. It was a television station that we hit up, and I like that TV station the most, only because I was able to cover our entire campaign so far. We spoke about the esports infrastructure being built in Ghana. We spoke about our Girls with Just Dance and the culture of gaming, and we spoke about the events that we were going to actually host there. We were focusing on hosting a esports qualifier sponsored by Color Switch, and this is where we were working with Yuba from GGC. So I really liked the Head Start. The lady who did the interview with me did a real comprehensive interview. It's very good. Something that you guys definitely should check out. We also covered the gaming conferences that we did with MTN and the Africa Digital Summit. So that was a big spot with the television station there. Okay guys, what's going on? The Lab Video Game TV here, back at Quasi TV, and we're gonna actually go on the arena. And then we did another one with Quasi TV, but which was a little bit more relaxed. It changed the pace and everything. We went to the arena. At the arena, we were talking about relationships. And I swear to you, man, everything ties in. When we were over there talking about relationships, I spoke a little bit about me and my wife and how being in our relationship was more of a companionship of how of us working together. And my wife really empowers me to do the work that I do in Empire Arcadia and what she's doing for the Valkyries as a whole. So, you know, we have to feed off of each other. We had a lot of conversations about that. There were some funny questions asked. And there was this annoying guy making a lot of noise, blending drinks for us on national TV. That was just wild, but whatever. Africa waits too long. Africa kind of waits for everybody to come and help it when Africa doesn't need anyone's help.
No, it's probably because, you know, as young kids, you're playing video games and your parents are like, just stop playing the video game and go to school and go and learn. It's always the first reaction. Like, but kids love video games.
Do you think that happens to only black people? That happens to all kids. So after the arena, we hit up a couple more radio stations. We hit up Live 91.9 FM, and we definitely hit up Y107 FM. And I wanted to focus a little bit on 91.9 FM. That one was a good station. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but I was caught off guard. The way it started, I was kind of put in a position where it's like, you know, there's like, so Triforce, what you were here for, and I wasn't ready yet because I didn't even really get a chance to sit down and gather my thoughts. But the thing about what we do, Empire Arcadia, Lab Video Game TV, in this entire mission, this campaign, this saga, if you want to call it, in gaming, we're the real deal. Normally I would vlog stuff like this, but the campaign that we're doing requires professional coverage. But the message is organic. The message is real. So when they thought they were gonna catch me off, you know, I had to hit him with the Daigo parry, like, and it got hit with the clean super. Like, you don't try to throw those random questions out on me or whatever. And I hit him with the, you know, how esports will help the economy of Ghana and other nations in Africa. We used the Fortnite thing where the kid who won the $3 million at Fortnite, like, this is a 16-year-old kid, and he's pretty much set for the first half of his life because he won the Fortnite World Championships. And which then, when they saw that, they kind of took a great interest. It was like, oh, this guy's the real deal. And we started talking about a bunch of other things, you know, how we need to be focus on our interests in esports. When I mean our interests, I mean Africa's interests, not foreign interests for those who want to come in and colonize yet another infrastructure for funding and the economy and all this other stuff. No, this needs to be done by Africans. President Kagame out of I think it's Rwanda. Yes, he says it himself. We have to be self-sufficient. We have to be sovereign unto ourselves. Only we can push Africa forward. Only Africans can push Africa forward. And that's the same thing that stands for gaming and esports, especially with African people around the world. We got to be able to push ourselves forward. We cannot be looking for handouts, directions, and whoever else foreign aid, because their interest is their interest. They're willing to help us for their gain. They're not willing to help us for our gain. It's for their gain. So in order for us to get our gain, we have to help us for our gain. And we spoke a little bit about that on that radio station. I don't want people to think that what we're doing is like manufactured or orchestrated or we're trying to be fake. You have to understand how authentic of what we're doing. Everything, it doesn't just come from the heart, and it doesn't just come from the paper. What we do, we believe in what we do, and that's why we do it, and that's why the message is so real. I'm just giving it to you raw as it is, as it comes. This is how we work, because this is the best way for people to be able to digest what we're doing, and we're going to continue to do it this way so we can get a better result. Hey guys, what's going on? I know I look tired because I actually am. This morning we hit up Kwesi TV for Head Start. Right after that we went to the beach with the Valkyries, and now we're here at Accra Mall for YFM. After live, we decided to go to Y on 107.9 FM, if I remember, yes. And we were met by two ladies that actually ran the radio station. That was different. I love that. I was like, oh wow, that's godlike. There's these two girls that's actually running their own radio station. And pretty much what I did with those ladies is no different from what I did with Live and City 97. We decided to compress it, because we wanted to give them, we only had a certain amount of time, and we wanted to give them the full message of our campaign, what we were doing in terms of esports, what we were doing with women in gaming, what we were doing with the culture of gaming as a whole, at where it's being directed from the women point of view. I even told them, we got into a conversation about, when you look at men in African history in the last 200-300 years, I think we should step to the side and let the women take charge and lead Africa. That may not sit well with a lot of people, but from my point of view, it sit well. We are not insecure people. African men should never be insecure to have women lead. If we give it a try and it's not working well for us, let our women get a try, a hack at it, because they have done some incredibly great things in the history of Africa globally. The way this world is structured, we kind of push our women's accolades and accomplishments behind closed doors for everything that they've done in terms of invention, for everything they've done in terms of leading us. I'm like, I don't know why we do this to our women, but we need to stop it. And so big shout outs to you girls at Y107.9 FM. Keep doing what you're doing out there. I was very humbled to see that we have women on the motherland that are leading. We need more of those. So I definitely support you guys, and I'm going to continue to do my work to support our women over here in the West. Okay guys, what's going on? Good morning. We are here at Metro TV here in Ghana. We got an early morning shoot. We're going to talk more games. We're definitely going to talk about the GGC Esports Trio Finals that's going on tomorrow, and all the stuff that we've been doing here since we returned back to Ghana. Okay, so last but not least, for our TV station and radio station campaigns, we met up with the host of the station for Metro TV Ghana. That was a different shoot at the TV station, because we spoke about esports, but we really didn't talk too much about it. He actually did an interview based on me. He wanted to know more about me, and he wanted his audience to know about me. So we ended up talking about me growing up over here in the West, coming from Jamaica to the US, and how I got into video games and my accolades and stuff like that. I didn't want the spotlight focused on me. I kind of wanted to deflect that to focus on other people in Ghana and Africa as a whole on gaming. But it was only one show, so I guess it wasn't a big deal. But you know, that pretty much ended our entire media campaign in terms of from the TV stations to the radio stations. I think we did a good job in getting getting out there, getting the message out there, getting the campaign out there. During all of this time that we're actually working, a couple of things happened alongside of it. It had nothing necessarily to do with eSports, but a North American journalist, she was a film producer and a journalist from the United States. She was doing a documentary on the year of return. A lot of people may not know this, but we were actually back in Africa for the year of return as well. So there are things going on about the history of African people that needed to be covered, and we got interviewed, both myself and Wayne from the Lab Video Game TV, and her name was Diva Kinney. So she has a documentary coming out. You'll see a little bit more of us. It has nothing to do with video games. It has everything to do with the history of Africa, and we have a lot of things to say about that. But while she was covering her documentary on the year of return, Fabricated Projects had their own version to cover as well. So they did a piece called The Year of Return, I Am African, which just focuses on my entire experience and pretty much like going over the history of how the slave trade started, you know, based out of Elmina's castle. And that was a real experience because it took us almost a year. You know, when we went there in 2018, we covered some footage on it, but it wasn't enough. We had to literally come back and finish it. And in 2019, the second visit, we really got a like comprehensive coverage of it. And it's one of those things where the reason why a lot of people see things in a certain way just goes to show you that you can be manipulated in believing one thing because the omission of information from something else. Ignorance can kill you, literally. And ignorance is a very dangerous thing. And just being in Elmina, just going over its history and looking how we saw God, how we saw our spirituality, our religions changed over to a foreign version and then redistributed back to us, and the effect it has on us today. It's crazy, you know, because all my life growing up here in the West, I was told ABC. And then when you go to Africa, you're like, no. And no amount of book you read, no amount of testimony you get from people, the best thing I can ever tell anybody outside of watching that film, Year of Return, I Am African, go back to the motherland and go do the research yourself. Nothing you are told over here is true. I want to kind of take this time to kind of focus on the future of our leaders, and that all comes through. It all starts from education, and when we were there, one of the things I was definitely pushing, definitely being backed by Hashtiv's EDU, the gamification for education, using video games to actually teach the next generation. We had to push that STEM education. Like, that's very important for us to push. Even right now in Jamaica, that we continue to do that. I'll be a substitute teacher here in Jamaica to help actually push STEM education, because I want to actually apply it real time, how to use video games to teach children, not just life lessons, but standard education from math, spelling, reading comprehension, those things. All of those things exist in video games. I grew up on it. Now, some people are like, you did? I'm like, yeah, there were STEM games back in the 80s and the 90s, especially for the NES. We did a feature at a school. There was this abandoned school that a gentleman that we were talking with was trying to get to get like the government to actually build a STEM school there. Like no desks, no nothing, no notebooks, no blackboards, using technology, using video games to actually teach kids using stylus, their phones, pads, things of that, like iPads, or if you want to read a book, that's what you have the ebooks for on your Kindles and stuff like that, using touchscreen TVs as your blackboards and stuff like that. This is literally where we should be. It's 2020 right now, and we're still using blackboards. People are still writing in paper books. Like the trees are still being cut down for paper. It's ridiculous. Why are we doing this? Like the old school education, institution is obsolete by at least 200 years. Literally, like this should have been done eons ago. The technology is too powerful, too great for us to still be writing in books. It's ridiculous. People should be typing. Some people say, well, what about writing? We're going to lose our ability to write. That's what stylus is for, so we can still write. People who are game developers and artists, they're literally drawing on stylus, using styluses and on pads. They don't draw on paper anymore, especially when they're animating things and stuff like that. Technology is a component that we need to infuse into education if we want to move forward. And here in Jamaica, I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to actually put it into practice and to at least set that fundamental on that foundation of like, this is it in practice, so people can actually see. We shouldn't be doing education the way we're doing it. And when we was in Africa, we put that whole piece together to kind of like showcase where we need to be in schooling. We're definitely going to push that, because that's going to be the leaders of our world. I can't speak for everybody, but definitely for Africa, we need that for sure. So STEM education is definitely the future for Africans. Hey guys, what's going on? Next up for the Lab Video Game TV, we are here at MEST, where we're going to be talking about the entrepreneurs of today who are going to build our future infrastructure tomorrow. The next set of leaders are entrepreneurs, and we went to this entrepreneur speaking function at MEST, MEST, and there's a bunch of different game designers, people in the digital sector, technology sector, that focused on the future of Africa in the technology and digital space. And I spent that hour and change talking to these guys, pretty much trying to inspire them and empower them that we are our own future. We don't need to look to nobody. Africans have been inventing things about this world. People don't understand that, people really need to understand that the greatest nation in this world is the United States of America, and that was built by hands this color or darker. Keep that in mind. And the White House, people don't even know that the whole infrastructure for the White House, the architect for the White House was a black Moor. Well, actually, that's a demo. You can't say black Moors. It's just a Moor, because Moors are black. But we have done so much. We have contributed so much. We have invented so much in this world, which has literally been, stripped from us. People have stolen our inventions, stolen our credits for what we've contributed to the world. That there are a lot of people in this world that literally believe that the only thing we've contributed to this world is slavery. Literally, which is wild. It's crazy people think that, but I really had to push that on our entrepreneurs and our future students, that listen, we need to continue to contribute and invent and provide a direction in this world, so that the world can move forward, not start, continue, because we've always been doing that. And when we were at the MEST class, I really want to do that. I'm not going to sit here and say that we are the only ones contributing to the world, but I will not sit here and have people marginalize our contributions to the world and look at black people as just the only thing we've contributed is slavery. That false narrative is definitely destroyed when it comes into my sphere and my realm, and I'm using video games to do that.
We're here on another episode of The Wall. Today, I have with me the Ghanaian GGC eSports 2018 champion, FIFA. Yes, Sule.
So there are a couple of people that we definitely need to highlight here because of their contributions. You know, for all the work that we've been doing there, we need to highlight what they do because they're native to the motherland of Africa. And it's three big people that like stick in my mind. Yuba, Ramahani, Selma, Idris, and Sule. And I don't want to butcher your last name, Sule, so I'll just leave it at that. I bring these three guys up because these three people have made a huge contribution to Africa in the esports realm. Yuba, he's a producer at the Kwesi TV station, and I just don't understand sometimes. Like, this guy's a producer at a TV station, but he's not getting the support he needs. Yet he has one of the most powerful platforms to actually project our esports campaign, not just mine. Like when I'm saying I'm not talking about Empire Arcadia, I'm not talking about the live video game TV, I'm talking about Ghana, I'm talking about Africa in esports. He has a platform, Kwesi TV, to be able to do it, and he doesn't really get the support he needs. That's why I was like, okay, we definitely got to help this guy out, and we did everything in our power to do that. Definitely bringing down Color Switch to help sponsor his big event, which I'll definitely talk about later on in this, and just using his platform to just get all types of different personalities, contributors to esports and gaming on his platform. The live video game TV did a wall on him, which goes into full details about that. So you guys definitely can check that out with Yuba from Kwesi TV and his wall segment. Next person, I call her the Queen of the Valkyries, especially for Ghana, and that's Selma. Selma, I love Selma. Selma's my sister. She's like the daughter of Africa. That's why I call her Queen Selma. She is one of the few female gamers who actually is making a big push. And if you know her struggle, if you actually know her personal life, you'll like, yo, I commend this woman, because the struggles that she's going through is a testament to why I say women should be the leaders. It's exactly why Empress Nile leads what she leads with the Valkyries here in Jamaica and the West as a whole. Women go through far more hard of a struggle than us men. Now, I know some guys are going to disagree with that. Trust me, we cannot compare to what women go through mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and then physically, and they have to deal with all of that, and they have to still keep it pushing. Many are men crack under that pressure, but these women, they do not. So we did a segment on Selma as well for the wall for the live video game TV. You guys can definitely check that out, and I want to definitely give a big shout out for Selma to continue to do what she's doing in Ghana right now. We'll see you later on in 2020. Come back and we keep the mission going. So thank you, Selma. Last but not least is Sule. Sule is our only player on the motherland. On the motherland itself, Sule is definitely the only player that represents us competitive-wise. He won the GGC FIFA finals, FIFA Championship finals in 2018. He actually qualified for the FIFA E-Cup, the Ghana E-Cup for 2019. He actually won it. We did a feature on him for Player One. I actually interviewed him going into the competition, and I said, how do you think he feels winning that? And he was like, he's very confident. We did a whole segment on him on the wall to talk about his career in FIFA, and he's definitely one of the top 3 players in Ghana. His only rival is Wonder Kid, which it's kind of godlike because he beat Wonder Kid for the championship, but Wonder Kid beat him back. So that's an actual true rival, a true Goku and Vegeta going on. And Wonder Kid, big shout outs to Wonder Kid. He actually won Esports Player of the Year for Ghana last year. So big shout outs to him. And if anyone's going to be a rival to our Sule, it would have to be Wonder Kid. So I'm kind of glad that those two guys are going at each other. As iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpens another. So
we're here in Accra, Ghana at the Samsung showroom. We're here today for the GGC Trio competition, the qualifiers.
And this brings us all to our closing part of the campaign, which was the GGC Trio qualifiers, which led into the finals. This is literally the meat and potatoes of the campaign, because outside of promoting and talking about it, getting on the TV stations, getting on the radio stations, going to the gaming conferences and all that other stuff, it is now time to put up or shut up, so to speak. This was like the cream of the crop, the proof of concept. And we have a lot of people we got to thank for this. Big shout outs once again, like I said, to Yuba and the GGC crew, because they're the ones who helped us get Samsung involved. They allowed us to use their venue, their store venue, beautiful store. I'm like, Samsung always makes some nice the store, so I can't even front. And we hosted the GGC qualifier, sponsored by Color Switch, another big supporter, because they're the ones who put up the money for it. Huge support for us to have the qualifiers there. It was Ghana's first mobile esports tournament ever, and it was very cool. Definitely, mobile gaming is 54% of the video game industry, so don't think that you won't see mobile gaming tournaments in esports. Eventually, we'll hold a major portion of the esports scene. So we had a qualifiers at the Samsung building there. We did Color Switch, we did Just Dance, and we did FIFA. Two of our girls, well, actually all of our girls qualified for the championship match, the finals for Just Dance. One of our girls qualified for Color Switch, which was Selma. She did a good job at the qualifiers, and obviously Sule qualified for FIFA. We did a bunch of interviews with them. We did interviews with the staff and the guys that actually run the place and run the competition and whatnot, and it was a real good turnout. We had like it was like 70 to 100 people turned out to the qualifiers, because we were trying to cap them at like about 24 per game, so we were only looking to kind of get about 70 tops, so we kind of filled the qualifying cap.
I'm here once again at Questa TV Studios for the Color Switch sponsored GGC Trio Games.
And that led us to the GGC Esports Trio Finals, sponsored by Color Switch at Quasi TV's TV station. And this was like in 2018 when they actually held the GGC FIFA Championship at the TV station. I love this part because this is rarely done, if not has not been done in the West, where they literally host an esports competition in the television station, so that can be produced properly live for TV. This was was so godlike, you know. Wayne was hyped. He had to get his extra meditation in that morning, because that was a big production, real big production that had to be done. And we had everybody there. We had one of our players at least qualify for each of the games. And it was live on TV. They had a segment. Once again, they had me as a guest, which big shout outs to you guys at GGC for having me as a guest there. So I was at the commentary desk talking with the host of the event and what we were expecting in the whole 9 yards. And we got a little support in terms of like giving out the prizes. There were some MTN cards that we gave away for those who competed but they didn't win, and then obviously Color Switch giving out the main prizes for the winners and so forth. Everybody was there, big support for Color Switch. Like the audience had Color Switch shirts on, they all had Color Switch shirts on and stuff like that, so that was real cool and stuff like that. And I think we really got the message out to people for mobile gaming, because a lot of people are downloading the game and stuff like that, and that's good, because in the future I know Color Switch is coming out with more games. So going back to Africa in 2020, we need to have a plan for Color Switch, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Selma got third, I think, in Color Switch, and they were talking about calibrations of phones. So there's an even like deeper component to the like mobile gaming. Like calibration is very important. It's like having the proper controller or keyboard or mouse or headset, because the quality of those components when you're competing can mean the difference in winning and losing. So they were talking about the calibration issues about like when they were playing on an iPhone versus when they're playing on an Android and stuff like that. But that's some good stuff. Going into the Just Dance, I think it wasn't Mackenzie that won. It was Benjamin, I can remember his name. Benjamin won the color switch. We took third in that as well. So going over to Just Dance right now, we got third in it. We didn't take that game. A gentleman called Benjamin kind of washed the floor with our girls. Like, come on, man. Like, really? The one game we need the girls to really show out on, this guy comes in and puts out some moves. But we found out he had the game, so he practiced. So I was like, oh man. So, but it's big shout outs to Benjamin, because, you know, and he even says he wants to take the game professionally. And it's not, I don't want to make it like dancing's only for girls, because it's not. A lot of the big dancers in Africa are dudes. Like it's actually guys, and they got some great moves and whatnot. So that's a big plus. But we want to get our girls more involved in it as well. We don't want them to be left out, and it would be better to have it led by our women because of the culture behind it. The guys won't be lost in it. They're not going to lose their place in it. But I just don't want the guys to marginalize the girls. The girls won't be able to marginalize the guys, which is a perfect reason for them to be in the forefront of this. But we're going to continue to keep working on our Just Dance Africa project, which then brings us to the final game, FIFA. And our guy, as I told you, Sule, he qualified in the finals, and he was able to get us the win for FIFA. So on top of winning the Ghana FIFA E-Cup, he also won the GGC eSports Trio Finals in that. So, you know, we're happy because we came there, and during the time we were there, he's just been dominating and so forth. He still goes to tournaments now. I think he's won a couple since we've been gone and so forth. But big shout outs to Sule for winning that championship for us. And definitely big shout outs for all the supporters. Definitely color switch, because, you know, I was sitting there, you know, giving out the money to the actual champions, and to look at their face of the people who competed, the winners and the losers, as they were getting paid out, they were so happy, because they actually they participated, they contributed, and they were awarded for their contributions. And if we can get that on a larger scale in Africa, esports will be tremendous. Keep in mind, 1.3 billion, with a B, billion people on the continent. Like, this is ridiculous. If esports is great here in the United States, over here in the West, and it's great in South Korea, it's great in the Asias, it's great in Europe, like, it will be ridiculous in Africa, especially for the stuff that we can contribute in terms of the culture to it. So that was a great success. The lab really covered it. It actually plays on Kwesi TV as repeats in Ghana, which is great, because that gives us enough time to prepare for our 2020 mission when we go back. And when we go back, we're looking forward to getting Color Switch back on board, because we definitely have to continue to push the mobile concept of it, and we want to bring in other new partners that can help us in terms of funding for the event, to help it grow and make it bigger, because the ideal is not to go and make esports in Africa. Esports already exists in Africa, and it exists very well, at more than what you actually think. But we want to actually strengthen the infrastructure. We want to make it stronger.
We are here in France. We're heading back to Jamaica now. The mission is over. This is going to be one big recap.
So as you guys can see, this was a big undertaking, huge campaign. But it wouldn't have been possible without, you know, the Lab Video Game TV. Definitely Yuba Rahamani, I'm sorry, I didn't want to butcher your name, Yuba, from GGC and Kwesi TV. And big definite shout outs to Color Switch. We look forward to continue our campaign. We want to help strengthen the esports infrastructure of Ghana, and not just Ghana. A lot of people think this is always going to be a back and forth to just Ghana, but throughout the entire continent of Africa, there are other nations that we need to visit that we believe that need that same help. And in order to get that help or provide that help, we're going to need more support as well. So currently we're talking to other people right now to prepare for our 2020 campaign. Guys like Lime Juice that are definitely involved in blockchain and esports and other stuff like that. These guys are interested in helping to support our campaigns, and definitely want to bring back on Color Switch on board, because mobile gaming is the future, and we want them to help lead the way in esports and so forth. So I just wanted to, thank you guys for watching this. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Happy Black History Month. But Black History Month is African history, and African history is 24/7, 365. We'll see you guys in the next one. The saga continues. Because here at the Live Video Game TV, our game is never over.